Right, and it's showtime. Good afternoon, everyone, and I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar. My name is Ada Ijara. I'm the Managing Director of Emerging Africa Asset Management Limited, and I'm very delighted to be your moderator for this session. I hope everyone can hear me. Please give a thumbs up, the reaction box, so I'll be sure that my audio is fine. Excellent. So we're delighted, to have such a distinguished panel of speakers with us today to discuss the topic, which is next-gen capital markets, discovering how technology is shaping dividend claims and Nigeria's capital market future. So before we begin, I'd like to thank you all for joining and so promptly as well. I want to encourage everyone to please participate actively, by submitting your questions through the chat box, which we will, be sure to address during the Q&A segment. Without further ado, let me introduce our speakers and kick off today's insightful discussion. Thank you. So if I can have on the screen the profiles, I want to go ahead and read out the profiles of our distinguished lineup this afternoon. And we'll start with our host this afternoon, Dr. Catherine Nwosu. She's the Managing Director, CEO of Africa Prudential PLC. Dr. Catherine is a distinguished capital markets executive, and she currently holds the position of Second Vice President at the Institute of Capital Market Registrars, ICMR. She has demonstrated exemplary leadership throughout her career. Prior to joining Africa Prudential PLC, she served as a head of stakeholders engagement at BUA Group. Her association with Africa Prudential PLC dates to its inception in 2006, where she was privileged to serve in various capacities and notably as a Chief Operating Officer from 2010 to 2022. She's an alumna of the Senior Management Program at the Lagos Business School. She's a fellow of the Institute of Capital Market Registrars, an associate member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, and she holds degrees in business administration, including an MBA. Please join me in welcoming Catherine. Catherine, thank you so much. We're so delighted you could join us today.
Thank you, Ada. It's a pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Great. Right, so I'll move to our next panelist, and Mr. Amolegbe. I'm so sorry, Olatunde, please forgive me. Olatunde Amolegbe is the MD CEO of Arthur Stevens Asset Management Limited. He's a former president/chairman of the Council of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers. Mr. Amolegbe is the managing director of Arthur Stevens Asset Management Limited, as already mentioned. He has vast cognitive experience in investment banking, corporate finance, asset and portfolio management, securities trading, and investment analysis and research. He has worked in many reputable organizations such as IMB Securities PLC, a subsidiary of IMB PLC, Security Solutions Limited, a subsidiary of FSB International Bank, FCMB Pension Managers Limited, formerly Legacy Pensions PFA. Mr. Amolegbe obtained a BSc and an MBA from the prestigious University of Ilorin, Kwara State, and also has an MSc Corporate Finance from the University of Liverpool in the UK. He's also an associate of the Certified Pensions Institute, and he has previously served the Institute in capacities such as a chairman of the programs and education committees. Hi, Olatunde. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Hi, Ada. Thanks for having me. It's really my pleasure to be here.
Fantastic. Right, so I'll move to our next panelist, Mr. Bawo Orisha Jafo. He's the MD CEO of United Capital Securities Limited, and his experience spans over 20 years in securities trading and asset management. He started his career in financial services with Cashcraft Asset Management Limited, where he rose to become the head stockbroking department. He later joined the UBA PLC Group in 1998 with the then UBA Capital and Trust Limited, which later changed to UBA Asset Management Limited, where he was the head capital market unit and the investment, which is the investment arm of UAML. Bawo holds a BSc accounting degree from the then University of Ife, now known as Obafemi Awolowo University. He's a member of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, having qualified in 1996 as a certified broker. He also has participated in educational courses, including the capital markets and derivatives and options trading in Nigeria, South Africa, and the United Kingdom. Please join me in welcoming Bawo. Bawo, hi, how are you?
Hi, Ada. It's nice to be here, and thank you for having me.
Fantastic. Thanks, Bao. Thanks, Bao. So my next panelist is Onome Komolafe, and she's the divisional head of shared services with over 20 years of leadership in Nigeria's financial ecosystem. She holds a BSc and an MBA from Obafemi Awolowo University. Her career spans key roles at GTB, Access Bank, and Coronation Merchant Bank, where she was COO, leading operations and technology transformations. She has expertise in payments, settlement systems, and financial infrastructure. Onome has contributed to national initiatives, including the CBN's Payment Systems and Infrastructure Subcommittee. Her extensive experience reflects strategic leadership and a strong commitment to innovation in Nigeria's banking sector. Hi, Onome. It's so great to have you here with us today.
Thank you very much. Very glad to be here.
Great. Thanks, everyone. And then my last, but certainly not my least panelist is Mr. Moses Igrude. I hope I didn't murder your surname, Moses. Forgive me if I did, though. I really did my best. So he's a respected shareholder activist and financial associate, and he currently serves as a national coordinator of the Independent Shareholders Association of Nigeria, ISAN. He has over 20 years of experience and has been a strong voice for minority investors and corporate governance reforms in Nigeria's capital markets. Known for challenging policies that undermine shareholder value, he has led national conversations on transparency, investor rights, and regulatory accountability. Moses has played a central role in high-profile shareholder actions, including those involving major financial institutions. His continued advocacy underscores his commitment to deepening market integrity and protecting shareholder interests across Nigeria's financial ecosystem. Wow. So I'm sure you'll all agree with me that Africa Prudential has put together a high-powered lineup of panelists today. And I'm sure you're all as excited as I am to just get into it this afternoon. Right, so the next item on the agenda now is to invite Catherine as our host for the day, to give her opening address before we go into the conversations proper. Catherine.
Thank you so much, Ada, and thank you to all the panelists, our stakeholders, everyone that have joined. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the part of the world where you're joining from. I'm so excited to have you all this day to speak about this all-important topic, next-gen capital markets. What are we saying? What is next-gen capital market all about? Just a few seconds, let me share my slide. Please let me know as soon as you can see my slide.
Yes, we can see your slide, Catherine. Sorry, not to interject, but somebody just pointed out to me in the chat box that I didn't say hi to Moses. So can I crave indulgence? Oh. Moses, please forgive me. Hello, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, Dr. Catherine. Good afternoon, Ada. Good afternoon, all the panelists and the hosts and the participants. I'm grateful to be here. Thank you.
Okay,
Yes.
Thank you, Moses. So, Catherine, back to you.
Moses is here to speak for shareholders because we are all here because of the shareholders. So there's no way Moses will not be properly recognized. Moses, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much, everyone, once again. It's my pleasure to be speaking to you this afternoon about this topic, next-gen capital market. A lot has happened in the capital market and the world over, not just in Nigeria, a lot of transformation has been going on, and we cannot sit back believing that things will continue not as normal as they used to be. You can't continue the usual. We must look at how to do things better. And in this presentation, I'll be speaking about digitization and how dividend claim has improved. Case study, what has a regulator done? What are the adoption challenges and what is the regulation doing What are the interventions available to make sure that we have it better? And then what does the future look like? I'll start with this saying from the former Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. He said, the pace of challenge has never been this fast, yet it will never be this slow again. He is talking about digital transformation and technology advancement. So we're saying that technology changes are coming so fast. He is saying that what we're calling fast today is actually not fast. So we all have to brace up for changes because they'll have to come quicker than we expect. Let me take us through the memory lane of how dividend claim has come to be, starting with the pre-2000 era, when checks were signed, written and signed by the registrars. You can imagine the enormous kind of job that registrars were doing then. They have to manually write these checks and sign these checks and then release these checks to the investors. In the process, errors, missing checks, and the likes. From that era, we moved to the era where bank mandate forms were introduced by registrars as a way of making the claim of dividend easier. But it also had its own challenge because at that point, investors will come to the registrar's office, pick this form, complete the mandate, take it to their bank to sign, bring it back to the registrar before they can be acted upon. So you can imagine the bureaucracy and the frustration for investors. At this point, there was an intervention from the Securities and Exchange Commission and the need for us to have this process done electronically. So the e-dividend mandate management system was introduced in 2015. At that point, it now requires that these investors will now come to the registrar, complete this form and leave the form with the registrar. The registrar will now have to upload it to this platform hosted by NIPS, the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System. And then through NIPS, it will go to the banks and then come back to the registrars for processing. That's still not the best system. By 2016 to 2018, BVN was introduced. The whole essence of capital market, making use of this in BVN, is to help the know your customer or know your client arrangement. A lot of challenges that we've had in the market is identity related. And the BVN and the capital market is to help solve this identity problem. But you might be interested to know today that some investors don't want to release their BVN information. They're holding it so dearly to themselves, not knowing that this information is required so that your identity can be validated and then your dividend can be paid. So I encourage investors, please ensure that you release the relevant information so that your dividend can be paid. Right, by 2018, the printing of physical dividend warrant was stopped. Investors were expected to release their bank details to registrars. Some investors still hold their bank account number so close to their heart, they don't want it shared. And I don't blame them because of the experiences some people have had, their accounts have been compromised and things like that. But I want to assure you that your registrar is your partner. Please release this information. And today, you're actually expected to release it to your broker at the point you're purchasing these shares. Your broker will release it to through the Central Securities Clearing System to your registrar. So through this process, you are sure that it's not falling into the wrong hands. It will be updated and be used to pay dividend. We move to the period of technology, and that is from 2022 till date. The e-dividend mandate processing is now a situation where the investor themselves will go to the portal, upload their form, and the process will go through and they will be paid. And there is timeline attached to this processing for people to have their dividend paid. Registrars have also launched self-service portals for investors to be able to make inquiries, look at their shares, look at whatever they have, and then get information just to make things more efficient and more proactive. And what does the future hold for us? Blockchain technology, AI-driven processing is coming. It's already here. And it is important that we are prepared to go with it. Let me speak a little about our market and what other participants in the market have done. Starting with the NGX, they launched the X Mobile, which is an app that provides real-time market data to investors. We also have CSCS that have introduced the TCS Bank NCS, which is also a cloud-native platform to improve real-time trade processing and settlement. We have fintech companies that also play in the capital market, and they are well regulated as well. Our regulator, the Securities and Exchange Commission, is doing a lot to make sure that the claim of dividend is seamless. Now you know that across the world, the trading cycle is changing. South Africa's trading cycle, T+3 to T+0, full automation and dematerialization. This is also happening in our own market. Gradually, we'll move from T+3 to T+2 by November this year, and subsequently, we'll be moving to T+1 and T+0. So a lot is happening in our market, and investors are encouraged to brace up the technology so that we'll all flow together. We need to understand some key components shaping the next-gen capital market for personalized, efficient, and transparent services, starting with the digital onboarding and identity management, using both BVN, NIN, and other channels to provide our identity. We all know that when our market started growing prior 2000, people were just buying shares without providing, there was no phone number then, there was no email address. So difficulty in engaging investors is what both registrars and some other operators have been facing. And this is still why we have unclaimed dividend issues. Go ahead, please provide your data to the registrars or to your stockbrokers. It will still go around across the system so that you can claim your dividend. We have now real-time data exchange across board through the integration using APIs, both the registrars and the CSS and the stock exchange. We have APIs for data exchange. Things have moved from where it used to be to where we are today, but we are still going somewhere because we are not yet in that AI-driven era. The AI and data analytics is also predictive models that will help people make decisions, make informed decisions. It will tell you what is likely to happen. And with such, you'll be able to make your decision. Blockchain technology, as I said, will ensure data immutability, automated execution, and multi-party verification of claims. Key technology shaping dividend claim, what SEC has done with the MS. Registrars such as Africa Prudential use API now to integrate with other participants that will need to make sure that data is transmitted accurately and in a very timely manner. I take another quote from Pelzu, a renowned author. She said that the purpose of digitization is to make significant difference highlighted in the overall level of business performance and organization maturity. Now, this is across whatever kind of business you are doing. Digitization, digital transformation is required so that you can make that expected significant difference across board. Case study of what SEC has done. The EDMMS, when it was first introduced, had its challenges. We have moved from that level to the level where we are in now, a better situation. But of course, the purpose of all these initiatives is to curtail the persistent risk in unclaimed dividend, especially from legacy paper system to where we are today. And centralized investor mandate process. If investors provide details at the point they are buying shares, there won't be any further need for you to go through the mandate process. The mandate process is meant to resolve the existing legacy issues. So if you're buying shares today, make sure that your details are complete so that you won't have problem with getting your benefit. And we need to, that will help to improve transparency and accountability across the market. And we have the key features here, unified electronic platforms in collaboration with NIPS and registrars, real-time validation of investors' identity, and then automation of payments across board. The successes recorded with the EDMMS system is that we have over 4.5 million mandates successfully processed and dividend paid. We have full registrars have onboarded a lot of standardization within the system. 35% reduction in unclaimed dividend between 2017 and 2023. People might be looking at and say unclaimed dividend is increasing. It's not that the number of people whose dividend are unclaimed are increasing. No, the number of persons are actually reducing. But if I, for instance, have not claimed my dividend for years, if the client issue another dividend, my unclaimed dividend will increase. So that is what has happened. And that is why we're encouraging people to forward. Now, investor confidence has been improved in our market. Our Gen Zs, our diaspora investors, please come to our market, be encouraged, because our market is getting more and more better. Major registrars like AfriFood has reported significant improvement in payout timeline. If dividend is declared today, 90% of the dividend fund lives on the day that dividend is paid. That is where we are going. But we want to be at a level of 100%. And I make bold to say that some of our new clients that were listed in the last 2-3 years have zero unclaimed dividend. One of such clients is Boa Foods. Boa Foods, as of today, does not have any unclaimed dividend, and they have subsequently paid dividend for the past 3 years since listing in 2022. And we have been intentional in this process to make sure that any investor that is coming into these clients must provide their details, get their dividend paid. George Westerman, a senior lecturer at MIT, said, when digital transformation is done right, it's like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. But when done wrong, all you have is a really fast caterpillar. So the caterpillar will not graduate, will not develop into a butterfly, but will remain as a caterpillar. And that is not what we want to have. We are having challenges within the system, and I'll quickly speak about these challenges. Number one is digital exclusion. A lot of investors are not there. They do not have smartphones. The literacy is still mostly within the urban areas. So we all, as capital market community and investors, need to do a lot in order to educate people around. I know USSD is also a system where people can provide their information. USSD does not require smartphones. With every kind of phone, you can work with USSD. So that is a solution that will help. Everybody needs to be part of this literacy so that we can get it better. Integration complexity. We know that it's not all the registrars that have APIs that can integrate using APIs. But I tell you, most registrars have APIs and they're integrating. So every other participant and operator in the market needs to have APIs available so that we have connectivity within the system, and that eliminate fraud and some other things that investors are afraid of. Cultural barriers. A large portion of investor population, particularly the older or less tech-savvy ones, still disrupt digital processes. Yes. The fear of fraud, system errors, or loss of personal control make people still prefer to have their things manually. But I tell you, if you remain there, the world will leave you and you will not enjoy investment. Cyber risk, we cannot rule away that, but every registrar and other platform providers are providing security across their platforms to make sure that the data of investors are not breached. So we all need to trust our registrars. We need to trust our registrars that they will get it right, and other market operators that they are getting it right. No operator will want fraud to happen under his or her watch. So we are very, very conscious of risk, and we are adopting the best technology to protect investors from all this risk. Key recommendations: digital literacy across board, tech partnership within the system, cost incentive. Every investor will want minimal cost, maximum benefit. And then cyber frameworks across. We already have some certifications to confirm that we're cyber protected. Some of the regulatory support from SEC and the steps that have taken over the years, let me quickly mention them. The regulatory sandbox, which was introduced by SEC to allow fintechs and capital market innovators to test new products in a controlled environment without triggering full regulatory requirements. So this approach has helped to promote responsible innovation. People are encouraged to innovate in this market so that we can get the best out of what we're doing. The EDMMS system is improving by the day and will continue to improve to solve the legacy problems, why the new investors should not have need for EDMMS platform. SEC has mandated BVN integration and standardized KYC processes to strengthen investor identity verification across board. And then we'll have the RegTech adoption. The is embracing tools to automate compliance reporting within the system. I take another quote from Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon. He said, there is no alternative to digital transformation. Visionary companies will carve out new strategic options for themselves. Those that don't adopt will fail. And I add, they will not only fail, they will die. Any company that does not adopt digital technology will die. What does the future look like as I begin to round up? The future of dividend claim is autonomous, decentralized, and real-time. Blockchain technology integration is very, very key to where we are going. Digitally native assets that distribute dividends to wallets automatically. We are going to a situation where there will not be any manual intervention in payment of dividend. As issuers are declaring this dividend, they are hitting the accounts of investors. The payable date, in fact, within seconds, as soon as dividends are approved, investors will get their money. AI chatbots, which is personalized investor support services, based on behavior and history, is also available. We need to adopt it, and it's moving to another level. Now you have the digital ID synergy, harmonization of NIN, BVN, and eKYC data across systems. This is where we are going. And what is the next step for stakeholders? For investors, we must get digitally onboarded. We must prepare ourselves and update every information. For registrars, we must modernize our core systems, hire tech-savvy talents, and engage investors across channels. Yes, we understand that there are investors that are still not tech-savvy, but we must reach out to them. Stockbrokers must reach out to their clients, especially those in the hinterland, so that they can understand what is going on. The market as a whole must have this engagement across board so that investors will be ready to where the world is going to. And market operators, there must be collaboration across board. For our regulators, create adaptive tech-forward policies that encourage experimentation and protect investors. Now, what is the bigger picture? The bigger picture is that the next-gen AGMs with e-voting and digital proxies is coming. It's already here, but I know that some people are still saying we want physical AGM. With only physical AGM, you will not attract diaspora investors because they want to participate in what is happening. Yes, we are having hybrid AGMs today, but we are getting to a situation where everybody will be in the comfort of their offices or homes and have AGM successfully, vote real-time online, and the results come out and things will go on well. Real-time IPO subscription, we all see what happened a few months ago when the banks came to do offer. The NGX platform and a couple of other platforms, the banks have their platform, NGX has platform, registrars have platform to accommodate e-IPO. That is where we are going to. And with this platform, you have to compulsorily provide your details so that we don't create unclaimed dividends through any offer that was done through an electronic means. Cross-border capital flows powered by decentralized exchanges. I'm aware that Nigerian Exchange Limited, in collaboration with other exchanges across Africa, are having a platform that will enable cross-border trade. I will stay in Nigeria and buy shares in Ghana, buy shares in some other countries in Africa. And when dividend is being paid, it should be paid to me into my Naira account. So the world is going to places. And Nigeria's position as a digital capital market leader in Africa is within reach. It is here. And we have to be ready to embrace this. Speaking briefly about Africa Prudential, this company has been in existence for over 50 years, started as a subsidiary of UBA, gone through a lot of transformation to the point of being a technology company, created applications for different industries in Nigeria, and we are still doing that up to today. We are the only listed capital market registrar in Nigeria. We've been listed since 2010, 12 years ago, and we have consistently paid dividend to our investors. We are ISO certified with 3 certifications with us. ISO 9001, the quality management system, the business continuity management system, because if you are into business, continuity is very, very critical. So we have certification in that regard. And as a company that have tested technology development, the information security management system is one of the certifications we have to guarantee our investors that their data is secure. We have products, a capital market platform where investors can see their investment across the capital market. It's titled, and very soon we'll be coming up with an enhanced version of this platform with a rebranding. We have the Green Poll, which is the core application of the registrar's business, and we have the APEMS, which is our core event management application. We do a whole lot of services as registrars. I don't want to bore you with this. And these are the features of this application that I've mentioned. We will make sure that those that are provided their details, we'll share the slides with them so that you can see the facilities available with this technology application created by Africa Prudential, in-house application developed by our team of developers and experts. And for our contacts, we have our contacts where you can reach us here in Lagos, in Abuja, and in Port Harcourt. And on this note, I say a very big thank you for listening.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Catherine, for speaking with such passion and, just putting out, just a lot of nuggets for us to take away with us. I mean, our chat box is on fire. People are commenting, and I suspect we'll have a lot of questions for all of you to tackle at the end of the session. So for me, right, there are just certain things that just, resonated with me. I like what you talked about. You talked about, the checks to clicks, right? If I don't remember anything else today, I will remember from checks to clicks in terms of the evolution that you talked about, right? Thank you for sharing the timeline of evolution. Thank you for letting us know all the things that are going on in this space. And then you also mentioned that your registrar is your partner, right? Because a lot of people have had, issues, and not very savory ones, with their registrars in terms of trying to access the shares of their departed, loved ones and things like that. So thank you for reiterating that your registrar is your partner. So someone said that no one else is, can talk to us about the evolution of, of the capital markets in this regard, and rather than you, that you've lived it. So as the Americans would say, you've been there, you've done that, and you've bought the T-shirts and the coffee mug. So thank you so much, Catherine. So I have a number of questions, right? And I'm really hoping that time will permit us to go through all of them. I'm going to let you catch your breath, Catherine. I have some questions for you, but I'll let you catch your breath since you've talked to us for quite a bit. So I'm going to start with Olatunde. Olatunde, can you hear me? Please unmute yourself.
Yes, I'm with you, Ada.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so my first question for you is, what emerging trends are currently shaping the future of the Nigerian capital markets? Can you share with us, please? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Fantastic presentation by Catherine, as expected. She didn't disappoint. Regarding the changes that we're seeing in the capital market, I think she's mentioned some of them. Obviously, we are seeing the move towards digital, significant move towards digital. We've moved from a situation where trading in our market used to be via open outcry. You have to actually physically go and write a mandate and give to your broker, who takes it to the floor to go and trade for you. But most of us, if we are not aware, knows that we can actually do our own trading by ourselves, either via our mobile phones or our laptops, our iPads, so that's the direction the market is moving. At the back end, we're also seeing more sophisticated trading. Algorithm trading is happening in our market now. Most of us might not know it because it's obviously been done by more sophisticated institutional investors. But the sort of efficiency we are seeing in pricing that is happening at the stock market now is actually being driven by algorithm trading. And obviously, we're also seeing changes in the way settlement and delivery of shares is happening. We've moved from T plus, is it T plus 2 weeks or maybe T plus 2 months in the past to a situation where we now have a T plus 3. So you buy your shares, you are expected to part with cash on day 3, and you also take delivery of your shares on day 3. If in between, if you choose to trade those same shares, you can go ahead and trade them. And we see that the apex regulator, that is the SEC, is now even saying that starting from November 2025, we're going to move to T plus 2. My expectation is that maybe by early next year, we could aim for a T plus 1, which really is the global standard. And what that does is that it will marry the settlement cycle from the equities market with that of the fixed income market. The fixed income market at the moment is T plus 2. So if we move to T plus 2, it means that I can sell my fixed income instruments and use the proceeds to buy equities on the same day. So there's no mismatch of settlements. Beyond that, we also see some other changes. In the IPO space, we can see what MTN introduced into the market, where people are able to subscribe to IPO without needing to fill physical forms. That was a good one. It's introduced the Gen Zs to our market. We never really used to have Gen Zs in our market, but digital IPO is bringing them into the market. Clearly, there's still a bit more to be done in that space, but at least now that people can buy shares without really having to physically visit a broker, without needing to have a direct contact with any one person, is an additional progress in our marketplace. And a few other changes are also happening. We are seeing more integration of portfolios in terms of asset classes. The truth of the matter is that if you look at it, more holder brokers will realize that if you are investing in the equities market, then you are investing in the equities market. Typically, you do not have a situation where investors are able to invest in equities, fixed income, commodities, and other alternative asset classes. Now that the introduction of technology has enabled investors to have a more diversified portfolio. So if you have a self-managed portfolio, for instance, that self-managed portfolio does not have to be limited to one asset class. So you could put money in equities, you could put money in fixed income, you could put money in commodities, and you could get a statement that shows all those asset classes and enables you to manage your investment in a seamless manner. Of course, we're also having situations where some investors are able to put money in foreign denominated asset classes, euro bonds, domestic US dollar bonds, and all of that. So the diversification is also helping to bring in more investors that would typically have looked away from our markets. Of course, we're also enjoying the benefits of liberalization of our market. What liberalization means is that in the past, it used to be that it's challenging for foreign investors to come into our market because of various legislations. We had exchange control legislations and the likes that have prevented foreign investors from being able to come to our market. But some changes that had happened in legislative changes that have happened over the last few years have enabled easy entry and easy exit by foreign investors into our market. And what all these have done is to increase the efficiency of our markets. It means that because more people are participating, issuers are able to raise money easier than they used to, and the pricing of the assets in our market is more efficient, because I mean it's not easy to manipulate a market where the number of players is significant, and also the demography of the players is also widespread. So these are some of the changes we've seen in the market, and the result of that, the resultant effect of that, of course, is that we've seen a market that I've seen is the all-share index move from 10,000 in 1998 or thereabouts to well over 100,000 as at today, and I think it is still growing. I see a situation where more companies are going to continue to access the market, and the number of participants in the market still continues to grow. We have not gotten to the point where we can pat ourselves in the back, because there's the room for growth is still quite significant. We have a total of, the last I checked, I think we have about 5 million people or thereabouts with a CSCS account in the country. Out of that 5 or 6 million people, maybe about 600,000 of that is accounts that are active. And what does in a country with a population of 250 million people, we
Is it up to 250 million already?
we still have quite a lot of work. We still have quite a lot of work to do to take us to where we intend to be. So
Okay.
let me leave it at that for now, Ada.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us, Olatunde. All I can say at this point is thank God for technology. Going from T plus 2 months, you said, or 3 months, to where we are currently, definitely there's been a lot of...
3 plus 3 months or thereabouts in the past.
Oh, wow. So thank God for, technology, and, we've really come a long way, and, thank you for your insights. Right, Bao, I have a question for you. So you're also an ancestor in this market, and you've also been privy to, the evolution, that Catherine highlighted in the course of our presentation. I wonder if you can share with us, what ways you feel that, in your experience that, that technology has helped to transform, the level of investor participation and essentially, market operations. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ada. Before I go into your question, I want to start by commending the management of Africa Prudential for putting this session together. I can tell you as an operator, there's no better time to have this conversation than now. Recently, we have seen increased investors' participation in our market, and this kind of discourse will increase their knowledge about how the market works and also increase their confidence in the market. For the first quarter of this year, the all-share index closed at a little bit above 2%, north of 2%. But for the second quarter ended June 30th, it did above 16%. So the market is getting more interesting, and we have seen a number of investors switching their asset class from the fixed income to the equity space, which is a very good development. So I believe that this kind of conversation will help to sustain their confidence and integrity in the market. Now, coming to how technology can drive increase investors' participation in our market, you cannot separate technology from what we are seeing in the market. Tunde, my colleague and friend, I just mentioned the history of the market, where we came from the manual system to the system we have now, the T plus 3 months to T plus 3. So that is a very important factor. So it shows that our market is getting more efficient. So the efficiency in the market is also attracting more interest, more participation, especially for the foreign investors. When they see your market is efficient, they will be encouraged to participate more in the market, and that indeed has started happening. If we notice in the month of May, the foreign investors' participation in our market increased by 85%. So these are the things that increase investor participation. Also, we also know that the technology has increased the confidence in terms of the corporate governance structure we are seeing in the market right now. I can talk to you now. I'm sure most of you will know about that. Once you trade any of the stocks in your portfolio in the Nigerian market, you get an alert on your phone. Tells you that, look, so and so units of shares have been sold from you or your account, the price of which was sold, you get the alert immediately. So that enable you to monitor what is happening in your account. We have had in the past, they spoke about long time ago, some brokers are dealing on people's account. All those things cannot happen now because once any transaction, any deal on your account is reported by your phone, so you can question it. So that alone also has improved in terms of the corporate governance structure, and this was driven by the technology aspect that's introduced into our market. Also, we are looking at the generation of people we are living with, the Gen Zs, we call them the Gen Z, which forms about 70% of Nigerian population now. I think the estimate Babs gave about 250 million. So that's quite a use. And recently, they were in the past, they don't participate in a match, but now because of the introduction of mobile apps, most of the platforms we trade, like what we have, from your phone, you can see what is happening in the market. Whatever stock you want to buy, you can go ahead and do your trades on yourself without any manual intervention. You don't need to go through a stockbroker. You can do that. You can buy and trade and sell from the comfort of your bedroom using your phone. So that has a significant impact in terms of drawing more investors to participate in our market. And we all know that the Gen Z, they love what we call soft life. So somebody mentioned the fact that when you ask a Gen Z, who is your next of kin, he will tell you it's his mobile phone. So once they can do this right now from mobile phone, we're going to draw a lot of them will start switching their eyes. Some of them that were trading in Baba Jebu and those, they will start coming to the market. I've seen that happen. So we cannot emphasize the importance of technology in terms of driving onboarding in our market. And we are not there yet. Like Bas mentioned, the regulatory authorities have mentioned that by September, October, the settlement cycle will move from T+3 to T+2. That's a very, very good, important step as well in terms of attracting more participants in our market. And so that's where we are. So it's an ongoing process. We hope that as these things get better, it will close the gap. If you look at the number of CSCS account holders that we have in Nigeria for a population of about 250 million, we are talking about 5 million. That's abysmal. If you want to compare it with number of Nigerians that have bank accounts, we have at least nothing less than 60 million Nigerians that have bank accounts. When you go look at a CSCS account, there are only 5 million. So there's a huge gap to close. And the only way to close those gaps is to ensure that we introduce technology that will make those things very seamless and then make them open account. Then also, right now, for the account opening process has been also be digitalized. In the past, you have to fill form, but now you can go ahead and then go to the online, whatever instrument you're using, just go and fill the forms on the online, and then your account is open within a day. So those are the things that are very important. We have, and so long as we see the improvement in these technology capabilities, we are going to see more participation in our market. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bawo, for your insightful comments. Okay, so the one that cracked me up, and I see a lot of people that were laughing as well, putting up laughing emojis, when you talked about the Gen Zs and their next of kin being their mobile phones. It's not that serious, is it? It's not serious.
What I'm talking about, yeah.
All right, thanks, Bawo. So my next question is for Onome. Onome, are you there? If you could please unmute yourself, I'd like you to answer this question. Hi. Okay, so I'd like you to answer this question. So we've talked a bit about, T+3 months to T+3 where we currently are. I would like you to just speak, as to what are the benefits of implementing the T+2 settlement cycle for Nigeria's capital markets. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ada. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on this. Also to note that all the speakers have also referred to this reduction in settlement cycle. I think this is just really wonderful for the Nigerian markets. First, I would just take maybe 4 or 5 benefits to the market. Speaking about the reduction in cycle, today you have a situation where if you have a sale on your shares on a Monday, you would not be able to receive the cash or the liquidity until Thursday. That's the T+3 we are speaking to. So Monday being transaction date, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday being the +3. And what we are saying is that we want to be able to reduce that to a T+2. So you have a sale on Monday, you have your cash by Wednesday. And hopefully we'll be able to move that even to a T+1 if possible, so that on a next day basis, that will possible. Of course, this will be subject to the regulatory approval. But today, what we have in Nigeria is that we have received approval for the market to move to T+2. So how does that benefit you as an investor? How is that relevant to the market as a whole? The first, and which is what I have spoken to, is the fact that your liquidity, you can take advantage of the opportunity of investing in other instruments or taking other investment decisions very quickly because the cycle has been reduced. So funds that you would ordinarily have received on Thursday, for instance, you can receive on Wednesday and then make other investment decisions around liquidity. Mr. Molobe spoke about the fact that there's now a sync, with the fixed income market, which is a T+2 for a standard trade. And so you can, for example, now invest in a fixed income instrument, which ordinarily wouldn't have been possible because you would have to wait for T+3. And so wait for another instrument thereafter. So one very key benefit is the fact that for the market, there is now better agility, there's better liquidity because there's faster access to funds to take advantage of investor opportunities. Another very key benefit is the fact that there's a reduction in settlement risk. The closer you are to immediate settlement per transaction, the more minimized your settlement risk. Because the longer it takes for you to be settled, the higher the possibility of you not being settled. A very good example is today's payment system wherein you can transfer immediately. And so the other person is able to receive cash immediately. So the settlement risk is very minimized because you know that it is immediate settlement. So when you reduce the settlement cycle, you also reduce that probability, of there being a settlement or a counterparty risk in terms of your transaction. Then the third thing I will quickly speak to is around the operational efficiency of this. Then the optimization of resources that will be expended over 3 days will be expended over 2 days. And so you will see improvements in clearing and settlement in custodial services, which is also very good for the market. And also this will boost investor confidence as a fourth point in terms of the transparency and the efficiency that a reduced settlement cycle is bringing to the market, which I think is something that everyone should be excited in, because we know that definitely this will have a positive impact on the numbers and the volumes within the capital market. And the fifth point I would like to speak to is in terms of global alignment and positioning. And I think one of the speakers has also alluded to that. You don't want to be that you are the only market when people have already, the US market moved to T+1 last year. People are already considering moving to T+1. And then you are, if I'll use the word, hugging T+3. In 2025. So this approval from the regulator for November 28th date of T+2 is really brilliant because now Nigeria as a market is globally aligned, is globally positioned, not just from a reputational standpoint, but also from an investor, global investment into the Nigerian market. I think this is also encouraging to other investors. And so you will see foreign investments coming in just because of this reduction in settlement cycle. So I believe that the reduction in settlement cycle is one of the very brilliant things that has gone on in the market in this year. And we hope that by next year, maybe by the first half, subject to regulatory approval, we may be able to push this to even a T+1 market with even greater impact. Thank you very much, Ada.
Thank you so much, Onome. I mean, what you said about, instilling, investor confidence, I think is really critical in this market. By the time, people are sure that, if they invest in, the capital market, they can get their funds out in order to, take advantage of other investment options, such as, commercial papers that are typically just open for a very short space of time. I think that would also, that would be a big, leap for us. It would also ensure that people don't divert funds to Ponzi schemes, right? All those funds that are going to the Ponzi schemes.
Going elsewhere, true.
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
true.
And then, be put into the capital market. So thank you so much for sharing your insights.
You.
Moses, I have a question for you. Are you there?
I'm here.
Fantastic. Okay, so can you just speak to us really about how emerging technologies like AI and big data can actually shape the future of Nigeria's capital markets? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I sincerely thank the organizer of this webinar for giving me the opportunity and part of this discussion. As earlier speakers have already, or panelists have already discussed digital transformation within the Nigeria capital market has really impacted positively on the market. And now, first, I want to address this new innovation. While we are addressing the benefits and whatever that is needed for this market to flow, we need to know, to discuss also the challenges that the ordinary investors are facing. First, I will really appreciate the cash settlement. That innovation is great because at the end of the day, once I sell, the cash will settle into my bank account. Is a great concept. So whatever it is, you are very sure that within the T plus 1 or 2 plus 2 or T plus 3 days, you will get your money directly into your account. That is a very great innovation that we want a situation where this will continue. Then another issue here is issue of our digital infrastructure that interface between the two, all the digitals, that is all the electronics. For example, when you are opening an account as an investor in the stockbroking firm, there are issues that at times they will tell you before you open that account, they will not tell you your BVN is not linked. And in Nigeria today, there is no way you can open a bank account without a BVN. They have come that CSES will now tell the stockbroker system that your BVN is not linked to the account. And this is one of the challenges most many shareholders have, investors have experienced recently. Now, how that efficiency can come is very, very key. That is the developer, the regulator, and the exchange to look at that critically. Then again, we want to look at how digital technology will help in shaping and making sure that those who are in the hinterland are included. So the only thing we need to do is to invest on how to reach out to those within who are not in their villages, the local government areas, and all of that outside of Lagos or outside of the main city. How do we educate them? How do we include them into the system? Is through what? Education. So we need to invest in technology that can help us in reaching out to this group set of people so that they can enjoy the benefit of the capital market. Is very key. Again, that issue of collaboration in terms of how these individual operators can collaborate with each other to make sure that there are seamless transactions, starting from an investor who approach a stockbroker. From there, they open an account. From there, that open an account in CSCS. From there, you buy. Then the registrar. From there, when the registrar that would not want transfer payment or value or dividends to the investor. There are a lot of challenges. So we need to invest and develop technology that can help us to make sure that these things are efficient, that is, the transactions are efficient, they are effective, and are at a minimum cost to the investor. Once you do that, you see that more people will be coming in. So you can use like this new technology we are talking about to make sure that these things, these ideas we are bringing out are put in place. And the next item is, how is our regulator, the regulatory framework? Because as Ms. Solomon said earlier, trust is very key. Once I don't trust the system, it will be very difficult for me to provide my BVM, provide my data to you. So for that reason, we need to invest. We need to make sure that our regulatory framework is solid and sound, strong and reliable. That if there is any fault anywhere, it should be detected and addressed immediately. That, I think, is very key also. Then the manpower of the regulators should be, that is to be, they should have the manpower. What I mean by this is that, are they really trained to make sure that this new technology, they can monitor them, they know what it is and what to look out for at any point in time. So training and educating the regulators is very key. They then having the expert to make sure they monitor the system, the value chain is very key. So they themselves should make sure that this, whatever we are doing today, must be properly monitored so that we can have confidence in the system. Then when we talk of the IPO, there is a need for more improvement. Yes, actually this thing came up and a lot of people benefited. People in the diaspora and all of that. But then you will see that there are class of people, the traditional people. Who are the traditional people? It is those elderly who have been in the market before now. We want the Gen Z to come, but they must learn from what? The traditional people. Those people, many of them were excluded. So I want a situation whereby whatever innovation that is coming up should be very simple to operate. Even if I cannot do it, can a child, a Gen Z child, help me to make sure that whatever I'm doing, it is properly done? And I would say protection is very key. There are a lot of all of this virtual world. There are a lot of people who are there also trying to take advantage of this system. How are we doing that firewall to make sure that our security the technology are protected in such a way that nobody will be defrauded? Don't forget also that as fast as efficient as it is, you will also agree with me. The moment there is a fraud occurs, that the same person will get the value as immediately as possible. And whoever that is doing that, we know that once he get the value, he can move the money, wire the money as quickly as possible. So we need to look at all of these processes very well.
All right.
The real time, that is to say, when an investor key into a system and he has a problem, how does the system react to it so that it can correct itself and make sure that the investor gets it immediately and correct the system? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Moses, for speaking, from the heart and giving us, just speaking to us from the shareholder perspective. We value your insights this afternoon. Catherine, I'm sure you must have caught your breath now. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So in the course of your presentation, right, I mean, one thing that resonated with me is how you described, Africa Prudential as not just being a registrar company, but also being a technology company. And so as a clear market leader in this space, and having been able to so successfully rebrand and reposition yourself in your space, I want you to just answer this question regarding what role you believe, e-dividend platforms and automation, actually play in enhancing the stakeholder experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ada. E-dividend platform, just as the one operating Prudential and some other registrars, provide shareholders with self-service portal. Bauer mentioned Gen Z. These are people that want everything on their phone. Everything on their phone. Their office is their phone. Their companion is their phone. So they want everything they can do on their phone. And this self-service portal, and they don't want to be calling somebody or seeking for assistance anyway. They want to do it all by themselves. So this self-service portal help people to have their processing seamlessly. The claim tracking, the mandate updates, the real-time notification are things that they want to see on their phones. So automation has streamlined bottlenecks, all those back-end bottlenecks ranging from reconciliation issues, bulk dividend disbursement, and all that, reducing the processing time from days to minutes. In fact, there was one particular AGM we had. Within 2 minutes of that dividend being approved by shareholders, people got their money. People got their money. And for the regulators, of course, regulatory reporting is very, very critical. Compliance is very, very critical. Audit readiness is very, very critical. A lot. E-dividend has helped a lot in streamlining processing. And as I mentioned, it is old investors that should be talking about how to solve e-dividend problem. Now, I also want to address an issue that has been raised on the charts, and that issue of deceased investors. If you look at the offer application forms, you don't even have provision for next of kin. So when an investor dies, the registrar will not have the details of their next of kin. So it beholds on the next of kin to please make a move. I know that they do it with banks. They go to banks and say, my father is dead. We have gotten all the necessary documentation. I also understand that there are bottlenecks in these documentations, but things are improving because a lot of engagements are on the table to make sure that for people to get letters of administration, the timeline is reduced. And for people to get letters of probate where there is a will, the timeline is also reduced. So family members should please, when a mommy or a daddy or an uncle and aunt dies, I'm sure when they enter their room, they try to gather things. When you see dividend warrant, don't throw it away. Because some of them file these things over the years. When you see anything relating to shares, don't throw it away. Pick it up. For each of them, you will see contact information, either the registrar or the stockbroker. Please make a move and approach the registrar or the stockbroker. Through this e-dividend process, you can get this thing sorted out. And as they are sorting out for the dividend, they're also sorting out for the shares so that the beneficiaries can have access to these investments. Thank you, Ada.
Thank you, Catherine. Excellent points that you've shared. And I think the chat box is on fire, really. So what you spoke about regarding, recovery of deceased, family members, dividends and, unclaimed dividends, it's a major point. I suspect a lot more questions will come in that regard as well as we go along. All right. So, Olatunde, I have another question for you. Are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, fantastic. Right. So if you could just speak to us about, some of the main challenges and opportunities, that stakeholders should be aware of, moving forward. Thank you. So what are some of the
I
main
didn't get that
challenges?
question. I don't know whether.
Okay, maybe.
Where is the
Can you
network from
hear
my
me now?
side? Do you want to take that again, Ada, please?
Sure.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, fantastic. So I said, what are the main challenges and opportunities, that stakeholders should be aware of, moving forward? Can you hear me, sir? Hello?
Okay, well, hello, I hope you can hear me. I hope I'm
Yes, I
audible.
can. Yes, we can hear
All
you.
right.
Please,
Okay.
please go
All
ahead.
right. There's no doubt from the conversation we've all had here, there's no doubt that the market had made significant progress in its 60 years or thereabouts, and we are continuing to make progress. But it's clear that we're nowhere near where we're supposed to be. We've mentioned some of the statistics. Let me give you another statistics that will show that we are nowhere. We as a market, as a community, we are not where we're supposed to be. The market capitalization in the US, 50 trillion, thereabouts. Market capitalization in South Africa, 1.5 trillion, thereabouts. Market capitalization in Nigeria, as of this year, 90 billion. And our population, I mean, does not justify for us to have a market capitalization that is still that low. All right. And aside from some of the structural issues which you have mentioned, and some of the issues that issues around policy, which has held the market down, there are still some really practical things that have prevented the market from achieving its true potential. One of which is what we've discussed extensively here: issues around unclaimed dividend. When you are talking about unclaimed dividend in the region of 190 billion, even new investors that have not come into this market and are looking at that from the distance are wondering, I mean, am I not going to become part of that statistics of investing and not being able to get my not being able to receive the fruit of my investment, So we need to continue to do or take steps similar to the kind of steps that African Prudential and Dr. Catherine Wozu are taking to actively reduce the size of unclaimed dividend that is in the market, because it's really a psychological thing. You do not want to make an investment and not be able to, and for whatever reason, not be able to get the fruit of your investments. So if market leaders such as Catherine and the likes continue to innovate, other operators as well as the regulators need to continue to provide them support to find a way of reducing the unclaimed dividend. Secondly, there's no doubt that the market still have major liquidity issues. Either liquidity in the number of companies that are listed in the market, all right, or liquidity in terms of participation. Now, regarding number of companies listed in the market, if you look at it critically, if you check the data carefully, you'll find out that the biggest companies in this country are not actually listed. And they do not participate, they do not give people the opportunity to participate in the market. The truth of the matter is that we've had more companies seek to delist in our market in the last maybe 5 years than the ones that have listed. Though we have had some major companies still coming to list, but Nigeria, we're a country that is that relies significantly on oil revenue, and you'll find that most of the major oil companies, the Shells of this world, the Chevrons of this world, they are not listed. All right. So, and these are part of the liquidity challenges that the market has. And of course, we've spoken about liquidity challenges coming from participation, retail participation, for instance. I've mentioned it. CS, I'm sure Onome is here, and Onome will probably collaborate my data regarding retail participation. The last data I saw was 630 something thousand, active CSCS accounts in a country of 200 and something million people, and in a country where the people working in the formal sector. I mean, what I mean by the formal sector, people that are actually receiving monthly salaries, i.e. people that have the capacity to actually save and invest in our market, is about 20 million people. So if this market only gets, let's say, even 50% of those people in the formal sector, that is the 20 million people that are working in the formal sector that are getting monthly salaries, if only 50%, let's say 10 million of them actually participates in our market, you can imagine the kind of growth, the kind of liquidity that will bring into our market, and the kind of growth that will engender in our market.
I agree
All
with
right?
you, Olatunde. I think that's a good point for you to stop there, if you don't mind. Okay. We're not doing so well with time, and I really do want to give enough time for the Q&A. I think it's very important. So apologies for interjecting. Am I forgiven?
All right. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so Bawo, I have a question for you, and if you can answer it in 2-3 minutes, that would be great. So, can you share, Bawo, are you there?
I'm here. Well done.
Fantastic. Okay. Okay, so if you can share some examples of, some of the successful tech-driven initiatives, that you believe have actually enhanced market infrastructure.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ada, for that question. For me, the electronic IPO is one of the very significant development that has enhanced market infrastructure. We saw what the MTN public IPO of 2021 did. That was the first time we had the public offer has been done electronically, and it was a very huge success. From that exercise, I think some information came out, which I will share with you from the IPO from that exercise in 2021. 70% of the solutions were processed digitally. And then from that exercise, 70% of the investors that participated in that exercise, they were youth, they were below the age of 50, age of 40. And then they onboarded 150,000 new investors through that electronic IPO. So that's a benchmark. So most of the bank rights and public orders are doing that. They are coming to this channel, and it has made the reconstruction of job for registrars easier, and efficiency has been added by that one. That is one of the important ones. And then we have other ones that are currently being done. The KYC, know your customers, have been, and then we also have a personalized dashboard. Those are the things that have been done that are deepening our market and enhancing our market. But like Tunde noted, there are some things we need to do. So people in the market, we need to tell ourselves the truth. The level of participation we are seeing from the Gen Zs, let me go back to them, it's not huge compared to them, because the absence of alternative investment instruments in our market is still very shallow. We are talking about crypto. It's a crypto world. Most of the Gen Zs in Nigeria, they have crypto accounts abroad. But so we need to bring those things, we need to democratize those alternative instruments into our market so that we can get them to put it out. While we thank God that the current DG of the SEC, Dr. Gama, he has spoken about crypto, including crypto in the Nigerian market, and has doing a lot in that space. So as long as we bring those kind of foreign instruments that are attracting those Gen Zs, which where the world is going to right now, we're going to see more participation in our market. That's my response. Thank you.
Thank you, Bawo. Thank you. Excellent points that you've made. Thank you. Onom, I have a question for you, please. And if you could also do me the favor also of being able to answer in 2-3 minutes or less, that would be great. So Onom, are you there?
I am. I can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so, what future developments are expected to further improve settlement processes in Nigeria, in your opinion?
Okay, like I'd mentioned, and thank you, very good question, Ada. Like I'd mentioned, we're looking at reducing the cycle to T+1. That's something that is very much on the burner. When subject to approval, we're looking at 2026. That the Nigerian market will be able to move to a T+1 cycle. Another consideration we're looking at within the capital market is cross-border settlements. We're looking at a situation wherein, you would be able to have transactions between, say, Nigeria and Ghana, and those transactions will be settled cross-border. So you can make investments in the Ghanaian market, and for example, and Ghanaian citizens or residents can make investments in the Nigerian market. Cross-border settlement is something that we think that is also very critical to change within the market. Also, where part of what we think is also critical is that we want to see a market that has a very complete straight-through processing, straight from the trade to the settlement to the ultimate beneficiary, very little manual intervention at any point in time. I think that's also very critical and something that we're looking and the market is working towards. In part of what Dr. Catherine had presented, she had also mentioned the fact that part of the future will include, transmissions using blockchain technology, again, to enhance transparency within the settlement process. Those are the few things that I think I'll just mention because of time, but those are the things that we're looking forward to in the market: a reduction in the cycle, cross-border settlement, STP, and blockchain technology. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Onome. Crisp and very clear. Thank you. Moses, I have one question for you. Are you still with us?
You are here? Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so when you were, responding to my, previous question, you mentioned the fact that, the older generation can, ask their children, to help them, access technology on their phones as regards, participating in the capital markets and all of that. So aside having their children assist them, what other steps, should stakeholders take in order to foster a more inclusive and, digitally friendly market environment? Thank you.
Thank you very much. One thing we need to do again is, I will still emphasize education. We need to educate the people who are behind this technology in terms of morality, in terms of spirituality. That is to say, when you deploy a technology, is human being that is behind that technology. And those human beings that they are behind that technology, if they don't have the humanness that is behind it, they can deploy that technology into they can use it for negativity. So education is key. You must educate people. Then not only like that, what the regulator and the what I want to see is the collaboration between the operator, the investor, and the regulator to bring this education down to what? To the hinterland, where majority of Nigerians are. I want a capital market where Nigerians are participating, because when we are talking, and most of them, when you engage this foreign investor, sharing investor, nobody will come to Nigeria to develop our country for us. It is high time we focus on what? Nigeria. It is high time we make sure that, as the other speaker have just mentioned, if we have over how many millions of people that have bank accounts, that have even have phones, that's to tell you that there are people, if information gets to them on how to build wealth through the capital market, they will be interested. So how do we get and reach out to this set of people? Is what I want to see. I want to see a situation where you use technology and a deliberate act that we must get our ordinary Nigerians included into what? Included in this Simon, where wealth creation is key. So how do we do that? I want technology that will be developed, app that can be developed. Thank God that wherever you are now, if you have some stockbrokers where you can buy when you register with them or open an account with them, you can buy shares there, using your phone anywhere. any location. So that is one of the things I want to see. Again, that is to say, improve efficiency. Efficiency is very key. That is to say, if I want something done, how fast would that be, effectively and efficiently, without any problem, without me interfacing with anybody? Then if I have issue, if I want to reach out to anybody to resolve the issue with me, how fast can that the system respond to me? It's very key also. Then again, experience. If we can do all of these things, the experience that we are going to have is going to be key. Now, another thing I want to see.
In one minute, sir. In 1 minute. Could you wrap up in 1 minute?
All right.
Thank you.
What I want to see, this unclaimed dividend we are talking, especially for diseased investor. I want to see a situation where we can develop, like APR now, can develop a system or a solution that we easily let people, the disease beneficiary, to access all of these things without a problem. If we can do all of these things, believe me, this we are going to go high places. And I'm looking at the situation where also that the growth and the development of the capital market is in such a way that when my work is with a stockbroker or somewhere, these people can relate with me that is very effectively and efficiently, so that trust can be there. Business without a trust, business without integrity is no business. So that trust is what I'm looking at, that the digital transformation should be should emphasize on, and the people behind it must be trained. I have the belief that whatever we are doing as a community, as an investor, as a Nigeria, is for the good of us and everybody and the Nigeria economy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Moses. And you've harped on it quite a bit, about the trust deficit that exists in the market. And that's why, Africa Prudential, has put this together, right? We want, the investing public to know that they can trust, capital markets operators, to do right by them. And I suspect that more of these engagements would also help to continue to, educate the market. So thank you very much for your responses, sir. Right, so I'm going to put a hard stop now to the, to the panelist, session in this regard, and let's quickly move to Q&A. Our chat box is on fire. There's so many messages and so many questions, and I really hope we can get through all of them, or as much as we can. First of all, quite a number of, attendees have requested for the slides. So, Catherine, are you able to share the slides with all the registered attendees? Please unmute yourself and respond. So they know it came from you directly. Okay, so attendees, our dear attendees, please have no fear. The slides will be made available to all of you as registered participants in this session. Right. Another question, I think it's for you, Catherine. About 2 or 3 people have requested for when Africa Prudential will be issuing their bonus shares or something. Or be paying for their bonus shares. Are you able to respond to this, please?
It's actually been issued. They should check their stockbroking accounts. A lot of people have confirmed that their accounts have been credited. So they should check their account, their stockbroking accounts. We are just waiting for final feedback so that we can advise them from.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, so there's Suraju here, and he appears to be in quite the dilemma regarding the unclaimed dividends of his late father, who passed since 2009. And he says he's been trying to claim those dividends since then, and he says that all the necessary processes had been completed. He mentioned the broking firm that he dealt with, or he's dealing with, Meristem, that they sent a link from NIBSS, but still couldn't get the dividends, telling him that that his own BVN was not on it. And he also mentioned that Polaris Bank also claimed that they had linked it up. So is it possible for somebody on your team to reach out to him? He's actually put his phone number, because I suspect that this might take a bit of time to respond to, specifically since there might be some peculiar circumstances around why he's having this bottleneck between the bank and the stockbroking firm. So,
Okay,
Catherine?
yeah,
Okay.
I'll pick up his details from the chat
Okay.
and then get further details of the issue and then reach out to the affected register or stockbroking firm.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Suraju, please note that someone will reach out to you from Africa Prudential. Thank you for your question. Right. So I have another question here from Awoke O. And he or she wants to know, is there any self-service tech move towards allowing investors with multiple brokers to consolidate their holdings in one brokerage firm? He or she says that it's quite complicated right now. Is there anyone that can answer this? Catherine, I suspect it might be you again. But any
No,
of the other
brokers are here. They can talk about how to consolidate their accounts.
Exactly. So
I have
Bawo,
an idea, but let the experts speak.
okay.
All
So
right.
Bawo, do you want to sink your teeth into
Sure,
this one?
sure. All right, definitely. Okay, that's a brilliant question. So we've been, as brokers, we've been ordinated with a number of our clients coming. They have multiple stockbroking accounts, and they want to consolidate them. We're in support of that process. We believe that it's better for clients for them to have a single account for proper reconciliation of whatever is due to them. But the process involved, it's not straightforward. So currently, what we have in place right now is that there is a form they call the intermember transfer forms. So the intermember transfer forms, it will be done it's a joint form that will be submitted. It's between the house that is receiving the shares and the house that the shares being transferred from. So, but it's not that difficult. It's more easier once you list the shares you want to transfer, you put it on the platform. The CSS are made it easy for that thing to be done. So it's no longer difficult right now. Once you have the list of the shares you want to transfer, fill them, sign, put it on the platform from the house that is transferred, and then the house that is transferred from, once you approve, the shares come to the house. So it's not as difficult as it can be done more seamlessly right now. Or if you are not clear, want more clarity, you can reach out to me or any of the other brokers. But it's something that can be done easily. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bawo. There's another question here from Okechukwu Eze. And he says that he has a case where, registrars make it difficult for investors to claim their dividends and outstanding shares. He mentioned a particular registrar, for example, where he has experienced a situation whereby his name appeared in 4 different cases of unclaimed dividends. But each time the registrar will insist that the address is different from his address. In some cases, he says that he would get an address in far northern Nigeria while he lives here in Lagos. And he says that this has made it difficult for him to continue, going to these registrars. And he wants to know what is the way out of this situation.
Okay, let me quickly speak on that. Name is not really means of identifying yourself as the owner of an investment. In Nigeria, we have multiple people bearing the same name. So some people just go to the SEC portal and they see their name and they come up to say that the shares belong to them. And just like you mentioned, you are based in Lagos, you've never lived in Kaduna, and you are coming with a name that has a Kaduna address, and they ask you to show that those shares belong to you, you have nothing to show. If the registrar should go ahead and give that person, they are most likely paying the wrong person. So anyone that has, if you have changed the address multiple times, you should be able to say, yes, I was living in Kaduna, I bought it when I was in Kaduna, but when you ask them, and when you tell them, okay, this one has a Kaduna address, you are in Lagos, have you ever lived in Kaduna? I say no. So how do you want to claim such? So we're also encouraging investors, seeing the name or your name on the SEC platform is not sufficient for to claim ownership. It's not Father Christmas, it's not free gift. Someone has actually invested, and that person is the one that is entitled to receive benefits. So you should be able to provide evidence that those shares belong to you. Have you ever gotten anything in the past? Have you ever had a stockbroker in the past? Have you just something? Just let the registrar know that those shares belong to you, and they'll release it to you. That's my response to it.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. So Imoshood Bello has a couple of, I would call them contributions, really. So he says that the challenges of individual investors today is primarily lack of knowledge of opportunities in the Nigerian capital markets. He also says that staff are not well trained to expose the opportunities to investors. I'm not sure we'll all agree on this. Okay, but he also says it's not a staff issue.
And I can't hear you again.
Oh dear, I muted myself inadvertently. Apologies. So his second comment, he mentioned that CSCS individual investor portal provides very little purpose other than display of one's shares. He says there are no knowledge bases of how to use the CSCS portal to trade. I don't know if Onome can respond to this.
Thank you very much. The CSCS portal that is referring to, CSCS does not have a portal available to the market to trade. We are a post-trade institution. So I'm not sure, and we have various various self-service options that we have deployed to the markets for registrars, for brokers, various stakeholders. But we do not have any portal in the market for trades by direct investors. That's not within our purview. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Onome. So the third question/comment from Moshood Bello, he also says that claiming past dividends is still a big struggle, despite all the noise from several quarters. He says that the reality is different for individual investors and that the mobile apps don't work and they return errors, right? So this is a blanket statement, you know, but he's also ended by saying, I think leaders should come down to the floor and see the experience on the ground. Is there anyone that is happy to respond to this?
Let me just say something on this comment, and
Okay.
it's very real. But I tell you that investors still don't provide their data. Do you believe that the last concluded offers of banks, some investors did not even provide their bank details? It will shock you that if those banks pay dividend now, some investors will not get. Meanwhile, we're talking about 2024. 2024 transaction. So please, as an investor, the point you are making your investment, provide your bank details. You won't need to go through e-dividend and all that. Provide your bank details, right? And a follow-up, somebody is requesting for an intervention here. In fact, it's like the person responded to this question. He said that when people are diseased, their relatives cannot be contacted because their information are not provided at the point the shares are being purchased. And is now requesting, can stockbrokers make provision so that people can include their next of kin, their phone numbers, and all other information so that if anything happens, they can contact their relatives. I think it's an intervention we'll take to the regulator. And I observed that the last offer that were done by banks, some of this very, very important information are not made mandatory. They are not made mandatory.
That's a good point.
On the
Yeah, that's a good
platforms.
point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Then, if phone number is not mandatory, if bank detail is not mandatory, what information will come to the registrar at the end of the day so that they can attend to these things? No registrar want to be going through complete your mandate for the insults that registrars receive on daily basis. They don't enjoy it and they don't want to continue. If Onome should speak, she will tell you the enormous interaction between themselves and registrars, all trying to go back and get these details from investors. Why don't investors provide this information from the word go? Some investors that have done that don't have issues of dividend, unclaimed dividend. And that is very, very important. So please, approach your stockbroker. Even if you have sent it before, if you are not receiving anything, approach your stockbrokers or your registrar. Provide your bank details. They will update this record and you begin to get your dividend. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Catherine.
Madam,
Sorry,
Moses,
would you like to speak? Please chime in.
Yes, I want to say something.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ada, and thank you, Dr. Catherine. Please, I know how your organization works, but you don't blame all of these things on on investor. What I said much earlier is that the interface between these technology, we need to look at them very well. And thank God that this platform that is coming up, as we are discussing, there are a lot of questions being asked here. Not all of them. Which when we note all of these things, we can use them as a means of making sure that to enhance those platforms, the technology and all of that. That is the essence of what one of the things that I want all of us to take from here, especially those in operator here. As a shareholder, I want to speak. There are a lot of questions here. For example, I have done my mandate, and I have seen somebody have done plenty of our shareholders who have done their mandate. At the end of the day, when dividend is paid, they don't receive this dividend. What we cause it? I've provided everything for me, myself. Yes, I'm an operator in the market, but yet I still get unclaimed dividend. Why? So something is wrong somewhere. We need to look at it. It's very key. That is one of the things. Somebody will say your BVI is not in existence, and you go to the bank, you provide this BVI from bank later, they will still repeat the same thing. There's something wrong there. The connectivity is not there between some at times, whether it's a system failure, the downtime of anything. Even CSDS, I have an account that I'm opening now for more than 1 year. What are they saying? They say I'm not my BVN is not linked to that my account that I'll be operating. So let's take this thing like each of these questions that these people are raising. Let us not downplay them. I want us to look at them very well and escalate them to address this issue. Please, they are very key. Many people have asked about the issue of disease person. For somebody to even do this disease, people who I know very well, he is their father, they provided everything, but it's very difficult. I don't know why. And that is one of the things that is even increasing this unclaimed dividend we are talking about. So we should invest in those platforms, starting from the stockbroker that initiates from where the investor entered, because that is where the case, the cocoa is. That is the main issue. If the stockbroker can collect all those information, impute all those information correctly at the point of opening the stockbroking firm account, these things will not happen. And then I don't think I've not seen anywhere a CSCS account will be open where those information are not checked, because they always say that the KYC, they will not do it. They will not open the account. But how come that after the investor have passed through that process, they are not saying that they cannot, they do not provide information? Then not only like that, if it's an IPO, if you see a form that is not properly executed, why not you reject it and return the money back to the person? These are some of these things I think we should address. Thank you.
Thank you, Moses. You made a fair point there, as in if for any issue, any reason there's a bottleneck and the subscription can't proceed, then there has to be a way of returning those funds instead of holding on to them, and people are just left in limbo regarding the state of the subscription and not even having their funds back with them. So that's a really valid point that you've raised, amongst others that you mentioned. Thank you so much. Okay, so someone here mentioned, I think it's Job, and I think Olatuni, this question should be for you. So he says that, is this correct? That there are 5 million CSCS accounts and just over 10% are active? I was a bit surprised as well when I heard those statistics. So if you could just reiterate.
I think that's to the best of my knowledge is the case, but I think luckily we have Onome here, so she will probably be able to collaborate that. So, but I mean, I believe that, yeah, it's about 6-point-something million thereabout, that the last figure I saw, and just about 10% of that is active. And I guess the definition will be what do we mean by active? And I think that active means accounts where, transactions, buying and selling is actually going on. But I think Onome will probably be in a better position to collaborate that information.
Okay, Onome, over
Yes,
to you.
thank you, Mr. Allen. You're very correct. We have less than 1 million accounts active in the Nigerian market, active to the extent that they are trading, active to the extent that they have full KYC documentation and therefore can trade. So you have a lot of accounts, which probably accounts for the issues you have around unclaimed dividend, but documentation is not complete. They are unable to trade. But in terms of total accounts that are trading in the Nigerian market today, definitely less than 800,000.
Wow.
Yeah,
So there's still a lot of work for us to do.
absolutely.
Okay.
So if we can,
A lot of work to do.
A lot
lot
of
of
work.
work.
I agree.
we can, sorry, I was just going to pitch in quickly that, that for me, the number of accounts itself is a low-hanging fruit. I.e., if we can even move the number of active accounts from 600 to say even 4 million, that will have a significant impact on a lot of other indices within the market itself.
Okay. Thank you so much for your responses. Right. So someone says, I have a Williams here, and he says that the pace is quite fast. And as Pierre Trudeau said, it will get even faster. How do we fix or help fix the slow pace of external forces we lean on? For example, the issue of heirs of deceased investors who have to go through a gamut of processes before accessing their deceased's investment. Also, laws that make diaspora investments tedious and makes things seemingly less transparent. Who is going to answer this for us, please?
Okay, because of our time, they are soliciting for regulatory intervention in the case of laws, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, the person, I read that comment, and the person mentioned that you have a lot of diaspora inflows for Nigeria, into Nigeria, and they're all for food and not for wealth creation. So he's now soliciting for us to create products, like rich products that will support diaspora investment, so that they will not just be sending money for food or things like that. If they send money to you, if that money is able to generate more money, maybe you reduce your request and they'll continue to fund your investment. So that's an intervention the person is proposing, and which is a very, very valid one.
Okay.
Let me add to that what Catherine has said. I think that the person is quite correct. The diaspora have a significant role to play in the market. I think some of them are coming in, but more could come in. But when we have a situation where you can't open the CSCS account now without having a BVN, and a lot of them don't have active BVN, it means that they can't even open an account. They can't open a CSCS account, which means that they cannot trade. All right, so the brokers have the platforms to enable them trade remotely wherever they are in the world. But getting the account open is a challenge because of inability to have a BVN to be able to generate a CSCS account. So I think the earlier we move towards getting to the point where I know the CBN is now enabling diasporas to be able to get the BVN wherever their location is. The more they're able to do that, the more we'll gradually see more of them being able to participate in the market. But I think the basic infrastructure to enable them participate is already there. So that for me is the key bottleneck. So if that is untangled, we will see more of them coming into the market.
Okay, thanks, Olatunde. Okay, so someone says here, Abba says, please, how would an investor manage his buying and selling digitally? I want to know if it's possible on the Nigeria NSE. Thank you. So who would answer this question for us?
What is the question?
The question is, please, how would an investor manage his buying and selling of shares, I imagine, digitally? He wants to know if it's possible on the Nigeria NSE.
What does it mean by buying and selling digitally? I will assume that using some of the platforms.
Exactly. You know, I think
okay.
we just need to educate this person about the platforms that are available.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, there are multiple platforms
All right.
available.
Sorry, Moses, were you speaking? Okay, so now we can't hear you anymore. You're frozen. Okay, so Latine, while he's trying to sort out his
That
connectivity.
is what we are talk of education. Education is key. You see, when like thank God if he's listening to me, there are stockbrokers who have this app. When you open their account, you download their app. When you download the app in your phone or your computer, if you want to buy, you credit their account, they have the account, you credit the money, and the moment you credit the money, they will credit that into your account and it will reflect in your dashboard. If you want to buy, it's very easy. You key in and you know that you want to buy 60 units. It will show you the amount, everything more easy, very easy. Then when you follow the process and you click buy, then you will reflect it. It will just show if the stock is available. Immediately it will show. You will see that the purchase is done. But if it's not possible, it will tell you it is not possible. Then it will have a portal. The one I'm using, it has a portal that will reflect whether the transactions that are successful, the transactions that are not successful. And then the moment it is successful,
Moses, I think you're having some challenges with your
you will see all the with the
back.
everything
Go ahead, please.
your email.
We lost you for a minute there, but we can hear you now.
Yes.
You can just pop up in. Yes, sir.
Okay. You will notice also that the contract form will be sent to you. Everything will be sent to you. It's likewise the same way. If you want to sell, ask that you want to sell, fill the form, click sell. The same thing will happen. If you see a buyer immediately, that thing will reflect. So it's an easy something that is one of these developments that have happened in this country, in this capital market that is very excellent. That we are encouraged that I will advise that we should strengthen it. That every stockbroker should have it. At least, or if all the whole stockbrokers will have it, this question will not come. And then, since I've been commenting, the most important thing in all of these things is education, awareness, the awareness of these processes of the market. How many people are aware, and those who are aware even in the market, how are they taking it? This knowledge they have, are they really taking it that as if it's something good? Because most of the time, when bad things happen, it tells that human beings tend to what? We focus on those bad things. Oh, capital market that was crashed. I invested on money, a huge amount of money. I lost money and all of that. But it is only that we must invest in education. That is the only way we can achieve this significant growth we are envisaging. The stockbrokers should do their work, because to me, I'm saying that many of the stockbrokers are not even ready to educate or market or go out markets of there to make sure that they bring people. Many of them are not doing so. They should be able to collaborate with the regulators, Fed, Nigeria Stock Exchange, to make sure that new people comes, and those who they are dormant in those that they have created account and the account is dormant, they should reach out back to them and convince them that, oh, this market is on and the way they can make money or create wealth is very key. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so I have a few questions. I have more than a few questions here, and it's already 2:00. So Catherine, can we agree on how many more minutes and when we will stop? Because I do foresee a situation whereby your team would probably need to send responses to, because there's so many questions. We will, even if we're here till 4 p.m., we will not be able to go through all of them.
Okay, Ada, let's take 10 more minutes to round off for everything.
Okay.
So maybe 7 minutes for questions.
Okay. All right. So Afyong says, thank you, Catherine. So someone here says, Afyong says, I think as regards the CSCS dormant accounts, it might be due to the fact that most shareholders have not been paying their yearly renewal. I personally stopped renewals when I was not receiving any dividends from most of my shareholding. Onome, please, can you speak to this?
So I'm not sure it's a renewal challenge. What we have or what we have found out is around documentation for most of them. A lot of people opened accounts when there weren't so much stringent conditions around documentation for account opening. Most of them coming from IPOs, just fill the form, get the money in, do the investments. Nobody was really following through on, whether your KYC was complete or anything like that. Most of them, again, were pre-BVN days when you did not have BVN, and now today you need to provide a BVN. So I would not say that these issues are around cost at all. I believe very strongly, and the data is very clear on that actually, that they are around documentation and costs. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Onome. Thank you for providing clarity regarding that. Okay, so I have another question here from Ajibola. And he or she says, how do I claim dividends of my children? I opened the account by myself, though the accounts bear my children's name. The stockbroker has since closed down. Now, they are asking for my children's bank confirmation. I know this is definitely difficult or not feasible. What is the way out?
Okay. If I understand the question correctly, he bought the shares and the names of his children, right?
Yes, but the accounts are in his name. The accounts bear his children's name, but he opened the account himself, yes. But he said the stockbroker has closed down. Now they are asking for my children bank confirmation. Is that the registrar now? I'm not sure. That's why I think, Catherine, you can help provide some clarity here.
Whether the stockbroker has closed down or not should not prevent him from getting access to the dividend. Now, there are two issues here that need to be clarified. If the bank account is in his name and the shares are in the names of the children, he cannot pay the dividend of in those shares into his bank account. People were doing this in the past, and I bet you this also contributed to the unclaimed dividend. People bought shares with various names, both names of relatives and names of people that don't even exist. They transpose their names in various ways. If you bought shares in the name of your children, it is a you should open bank account in the name for your children, right? Because we believe that you want to invest for your children. Open bank account for them, and then the dividends will go into that account. If you don't want that and you want the dividend to your account, you now have to contact another stockbroker. If your stockbroker is dead, get another stockbroker, open an account. They will move those shares, they'll do it like a nominal transfer. They move those shares to your name. Then you'll be able to receive benefits in those names. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. I see, Moses, your hand is raised. Is it to chime in on this question?
Oh, it's an old hand, I think.
Okay. So Catherine, I come to, okay, go ahead, Moses.
Now, that is very, very key in this, what Doctor have just said, that when whatever, that is, if you buy anything in your children's name or somebody else that is a minor, all what you need to do is to open an account. For myself, I bought for my children and I have a special account for that, and the dividend is coming. It's very key. And why I'm raising this thing. As I'm here now, I have received a lot of calls from shareholders from my constituency trying to raise issues there. And if we look at this webinar, it's very successful. Over 300 to 500 people are here listening across the whole country, across the world. They want to get solutions to issues. So it's very key. Now, what I want to say, they mentioned inter-house transfer, which Mr. Bao have just mentioned. Please, himself have to look at his own. There's somebody who just make a complaint to me about them. How long does it take in their house to do inter-house transfer? It's very key. Then, stockbrokers who are listening, how long will you do inter-house transfer from one to the other? Because most of them, when you want to, you key in, they don't want you to go. They start asking several questions. They don't want you to move your own stock to this. From your own account to another account. These are human, the human nature of it. So we need to look at all of this. And the regulator, that is why I'm telling you, the regulatory framework is key. For example, if we are doing transaction, how long does it take? If not, a penalty should follow. These are some of those things we're supposed to look at. What is the timeline? If I want to, like for example, buying of share is T plus 1, T plus 3, T plus 2, T plus. All of these things are timeline. So why will the other transaction not be a timeline? If I want to open an account, how long does it take for me to open an account? If it is more than that, what should I do? Did you? And conflict resolution, because we are not talking about conflict resolution. It's very key in all of these things. So please, thank you very much for the opportunity for giving me that I'm interjecting, but it's because people are calling me, questions are being asked me, a lot of them. But I want to make sure that these things are resolved. Madam Dr. Catherine, please, you have done a great job. As the moderator have mentioned, make sure you compile all of these questions and concerns and try to, where you can push them to your colleagues, you push them. Where you can resolve them, make them and circulate it, because it's very key, because people are eager that these things should be resolved. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Moses. I have one last question before I then go around the room to get your final thoughts. And that's just really because of our time. Like I mentioned, the questions are, in abundance in the chat box. And I think it's just an indication that this has been an excellent, engagement, right? It's gotten a lot of conversation started. And I think, Prudential can pat themselves on the back for doing an excellent job in bringing these issues to the fore and giving people even the avenues to even vent. There's so much venting, and it's only to be expected, right? Because people do want to reap the fruits of their labors, of their hard work. A lot of people are not pleased that, the investments of their deceased loved ones are not able to access it, and everybody needs money. I mean, these are very interesting times in Nigeria, so it's all to be expected. So, Catherine, one last question before I go around the room. So this, Emmanuel would like to know if APR, Africa Prudential, operates a probate services unit like Meristem and GTL registrars, where estate accounts are managed and delivered to administrators. Can you respond to this, ma'am?
Yes. Africa Prudential is supporting investors to a problem end to end. So yes, the answer is yes.
Okay, fantastic. Somebody also wanted to know if Africa Prudential is actually listed. I think I saw that.
Listed registrar in Nigeria.
Oh yes, you deserve props for that. Please receive your accolades.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much, my distinguished panelists. I want to go round the room in quick succession just to get your final thoughts. In 1 minute or less. Okay, let me be generous. 2 minutes or less. Please just leave us with your final thoughts, things that you just want to maybe reiterate, or things that you wanted to mention but you didn't have the opportunity because we did have time constraints today. We've been here over 2 hours, and I'm so pleased that we still have over 300 participants. So that's an indication that you've all done a great job this afternoon. So I will start with Onome. Please, can you give us your final thoughts? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ada. And also huge thanks to Africa Prudential for this webinar. I think that what is important is that the market should be aware about the reduction in cycle. I think that's something we need to reiterate. There is a whole gamut of communication that will come to the market as we progress on this journey to T+2. I think that's very important. I also think that one of the key things as we move on in the market, and which is very key, is that for investors, for brokers, for everyone in the market, the use of technology is something that has come to stay. And we will see a lot of things that are going to be driven by technology. And when we say technology, it's not just as a buzzword. There will be a lot of self-service options coming into the market. And so if, for example, we're saying to you, you need to be able to do some service functions yourself, you should be able to have the capacity to drive those self-service options. Again, because that's what the global positioning is, that's where the world is tuned to. I think that's also very important. Cross-border settlement is something that we're very passionate about in CSCS, and that's an opportunity again for the market, for you to sit in Nigeria and be able to make investments in other countries and be able to get those settlements in real time. I think those are my own words. Again, huge thanks to Africa Prudential for driving this.
Right. Thank you so much, Onome. Olatunde, you're next. Any final thoughts or final nuggets you want to leave us
Well,
with?
thank you very much, Ada, for the opportunity. Thank you, African Prudential and Dr. Catherine for the opportunity. This it's been a very nice one. It's been quite enlightening. We are also getting very good, very important feedback as to what people feel. I think it is important that investors know that arming themselves with information is critical. A lot of the issues that people have raised, a lot of questions they have raised, are such that could be easily handled if they keep themselves abreast as to what really is going on within the market. I mean, you bought shares and the stockbroking firm where you bought the shares is dead. That does not mean that your shares is lost. The market, your shares is still at CSCS. You just need to go through the process of moving your shares from that firm to another one. Secondly, we also I keep emphasizing the need for investors to also bear in mind that our market is a multi-asset market. So I know we're speaking significantly about equities here, but I mean they must realize that they have an opportunity to invest in fixed income, in commodities, and other asset classes that helps them to diversify their portfolio so that if there are shocks in one asset class, they are protected by the other asset classes. And that ensures that the overall experience they have in the capital market is a positive one. And lastly, it is important that they continue to encourage others to participate in the market too. It's not it cannot always be about the negative aspect of the market. We have to also speak about the positive aspect and encourage other people to come in. I'm really very skeptical about our Gen Zs thinking that platforms that are essentially gambling platforms are investment platforms. Gambling isn't investment. All right, we need to bear that in mind, and we need to continue to direct their mind towards actual investment rather than continue to think that doing sport betting is investment. So let me leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Olatunde. Very well said. Gambling is not investing. Okay, so Bawo.
All right.
Do you have your final thoughts, please?
So thank you, Ada, for anchoring this session. I think you've done very well by my own assessment. Well done. And also, again, to thank the Africa Prudential Management for giving me this opportunity to speak to you guys. I thought the whole event has been very, very interactive. I really appreciate the feedback we've gotten from different participants in this. We are going to take that aboard and work on it. But let me quickly respond to the question that was raised by Moses. Moses mentioned, he was asking how long does it take to move an account from one house to house. The whole process is not more than 24 hours. Once you submit your request, once you upload, within 24 hours, it should move. But there's something that is not factoring. We have some universe of clients. They are owing, they have outstanding debt in the stockbroking house, and you're asking the stockbroking house to move your account. They will not move it. You have to settle your debt first. So most of the times when investors express delays, these delays will come as a result of this outstanding indebtedness. So they should look at those things before blaming stockbroker. They are not moving. They will move your. It's your right. If you want to move your stock, you can move your stock, provided you are not owing. That's the process. But on a final note, I want to quickly give a word of advice. What we are seeing in the Nigerian market now, we've not seen for a long time. There is a huge opportunity in terms of investing in Nigerian stock market at this point in time. As I speak to you, some stocks in the month of June, they did as high as 135%.
Wow.
I can quote LRD on the 5%, a lot of them. So the opportunity is huge in the FMCG, in the agro sector, there's the agri value chain. So please, I want to advise them, let them take advantage and go and start buying stocks now. If I have to quote the figures for the last year, year 2024, it's only Nigeria exchange that outbeat the inflation index in Nigeria. And the inflation numbers in Nigeria for 2024 was 34%. The NGS ASI recorded 37%. That was the only financial instrument that outperformed the inflation index in Nigeria. So this year, we're going to see more of that. So please and please, I want to advise Nigeria, let them take advantage, open the sovereign account, take advantage, let them buy stocks, and then you will see the result. Thank you all again for the opportunity. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, Bao. Excellent, excellent submission. Thank you. Moses,
All right, thank you very
any
much.
final thoughts for us?
Yes, what I will say here, first, I have to really appreciate APRO for inviting me and for this discourse. And I have to thank also the participants. They show really great interest. The number of people, the participants I saw here today, I know that across the world is great. So in conclusion, the future of the Nigerian capital market is very bright, with digital transformation playing a critical role in shaping its growth and development. So what we need to do is to invest in digital infrastructure, enhance the digital literacy. We must educate people. We must implement regulatory framework that people will promote trust of the people. Promote digital payment system that is where the interconnectivity should be there, effective and efficient. So that at the end of the day, whatever transaction or you are doing, or if it was you start it so that it can conclude effectively, efficiently, and with a minimal cost is very key. Then, in doing that, all stakeholders must create a more inclusive and digital-friendly market environment. That is, we are ready to work and collaborate with each other to make sure that whatever we are doing, nobody is less, nobody is important than the other. All of us are important. Then, in doing that, you see that I am confident that with this effort, all this effort put, Nigeria capital market will become a model for other emerging markets. I'm looking forward to see all of these things. But the bottom line is this: don't play some people down. Don't say, oh, it's Gen Z. I've seen where a chairman of a company in one of the regulatory systems saying that, oh, we are looking at Gen Z. It's not only this, it's the elderly people that give birth to the Gen Z. If, as I am today, I'm still a young person, correct? But I will want my children to come into the capital market. So it is these people that will equally help us to educate these people who will bring this way, my children, come this way, come this way. And you know the way people think these days. These Gen Z are only what? On fast lane. They want to make money, They want to make money all the time. We should not put it that way. We must educate the investor why there are fast way of making money. You must consolidate your money as you are aging. No, the risk is there, but then they said, so that is the challenge we are going to have with this Gen Z set of people you are talking about. So education is key, education. So all of us will dedicate ourselves, let all of us work together, from the stockbroking, the stockbroker to the NGS, from the NGS to the CSES to the regulator and the registrar. These are the value chains we are talking about. All of this, we must work together and collaborate together in order to make this market a great market. Thank you very much once again. Thank you, Ada. Thank you. You did excellent job here. Thank you, Dr. Catherine. Thank you, Mr. Bao, and all the rest of all of you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Moses. Excellent submission. You spoke so passionately throughout the course of this webinar. And I really hope that we can all have the market of our dreams, right? Going forward. And it will happen in our lifetime, right? By God's grace. So Catherine, our chief host, I have left the best for last. Please give us your final thoughts and then any other relevant information you want us to, have about Africa Prudential, and some of the things that you're looking to achieve in the course of your time as MD CEO. Thank you.
Okay. Speaking on the webinar, we'll coordinate the questions that are not responded, so many of them, and we're going to share it with registered participants. I assure you that Africa Prudential is at the forefront of solving unpreliminary dividend problem and then making investment attractive to investors. Because when investors have very good experience, they want to come to the market. That is one of my dreams. And trying to make the registrar function a one-stop shop. So whether the shares you have is being managed by Africa Prudential or Coronation Registrar or First Registrar or any other registrar, you should have a central point where you can contact and the information will get to the registrar and you'll get that. Our platform, Invern, is already doing that to some extent, and we are collaborating within ourselves to see that that becomes a reality. Registrars, I know and I agree that there's a lot of improvement and a lot is being done. And the Institute of Capital Market Registrars is not resting on their oars. They have taken it up as a challenge now to make sure that erring registrars are brought to book, to make sure that we standardize our documentation. Today, we have standard document requirement for every request, and it has been communicated to all registrars. One of the problems that people used to have in the past, that they will say, if you go to registrar A, they will ask for an arm. You go to registrar B, they're asking for a leg, and there is confusion everywhere. We have standardized our documentation across all registrars, and we'll be communicating that to the market very soon. A lot of the comments are also transaction specific. Some are mentioning shares that they bought that they have not received. Where the participants have provided enough information, we will send that to the affected registrar and we'll follow up with them to make sure that they resolve it. We will continue to improve. We'll continue to improve. And as been mentioned by the panelists, it is not one person that is going to do this job. Collaboration is required among the participants, the operators, the regulators, and the investors themselves. The opportunities in our market are enormous. Let us put hands together so that we tap into this opportunity. Thank you, Ada, before my closing remark. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you so much for your final thoughts. For me, I just want to thank everyone this afternoon. I've had an amazing time. I've learned so much. And honestly, engagements like this are critical, for the deepening of the markets. And, just education is really key, right? We saw that, in a lot of the questions that were asked, in the submissions that were made by, our panelists, that education is important to educate the market, right? So we do have that as, critical feedback, from our attendees this afternoon, that there's a lot that we all still need to do as capital markets operators. And it's my hope that we can all, collaboratively work towards ensuring that we build the market of our dreams and that we carry investors along. There would be no market if there are no investors, right? And the investors need to, have trust in the systems, trust in the market infrastructure, trust in the operators to actually be able to put their hard-earned money down into, towards making these investments in the market. So thank you very much to our dear attendees. We had a great turnout today. There are a lot of things that you all could have done with these 2 hours of your day, so we do appreciate your joining on time. We appreciate your engagements, the questions, and just as Catherine has mentioned, responses will be, collated and sent out to all the, the participants, really. And I also want to, ask Catherine and her team to also ensure that the ones that were specific to particular panelists as well should please also be sent to them so that they can also then send their responses to you and your team to then collate and send out. So thank you to my participants. Thank you so much again to my wonderful panelists. You guys have been great. You made my job so easy this afternoon. And thank you for, having us all sit at your feet this afternoon and learn from all of you. You all just brought your A game to the conversation this afternoon. And we truly appreciate you. Thank you so much to Africa Prudential, Catherine and your crack team. Thank you for all the work that has gone into this. We can all see that the work was actually, very well done, and you're all reaping the fruits of all the accolades that you're receiving, even from the chat box and all the emojis. People were just very interactive throughout the session. So thank you, AfriPrud and team. You guys have done a great job. Thank you, Catherine, for having me moderate this session. I had a great time, and I hope I made you proud.
Wow.
All
Wow.
right.
Ada, yeah. Wow, Ada, it's been an awesome day. I mean, how I wish we can continue, because there is a lot that I have learned here today. What an insightful and forward-looking conversation we've had today. On behalf of the board, management and staff of Africa Prudential PLC, I want to extend our deepest gratitude to you, our moderator, and our darling panelists, experts of industry, for your contributions this afternoon. You have educated all of us. And to you, our wonderful participants, without you, this session wouldn't have been possible. You contributed so much to the success of this webinar, titled Next Gen Capital Market, How Technology is Shaping Dividend Claims and Nigerian Capital Market Future. We're at a pivotal moment in our industry and in our market evolution, where innovation is no longer optional, but essential. The conversation today have reinforced our belief that technology is not just transforming how we manage dividend claims, it is redefining trust, transparency, and the overall investor experience in the Nigerian capital market. As we step into the next generation of possibilities, Africa Prudential remains committed to leading with technology, fostering collaboration, and driving solutions that deepen market participation and investor confidence. Let's live here with renewed purpose to not only embrace innovation, but to shape it. Thank you once again for being part of this journey. We look forward to continuing the conversation and building the future of our capital market together. Stay inspired, stay future ready. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much. Bye, everyone. God bless. Enjoy the rest of the day.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, my
Thank you so
panelists.
much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Catherine.
I appreciate you all participants. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Bye.
God bless.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
They have some.
So the purpose from the gen, based on what the government told me, the frequency, when I checked, the frequency was higher than what it should be.
Okay.
So I have to call it again. So he now told
And
just so that wasn't the load, it wasn't our load then. That's what the gen.
wasn't the inverter and all of that. Can see, and they have been bringing bills of